There's something nobody tells men over 50. Not your GP, not your cardiologist, not the guy at the pharmacy handing you a sample pack. What nobody tells you is that the exhaustion you feel after dinner, the sleep that never quite restores you, the mornings when the drive just isn't there, none of that is inevitable. None of it is simply getting older. And the answer, for a staggering number of men, comes down to one mineral most of us are dangerously low in by the time we hit our 50s. If you've been waking up tired, if the energy you used to count on has quietly disappeared, if something in your intimate life has shifted in ways you haven't said out loud, stay with me. Because what I'm about to share has changed the quality of life for hundreds of men I've worked with, and it costs less than your morning coffee. Most men believe what they've been told, that declining stamina, broken sleep, and fading drive are just what happens after 50. That it's a hormonal issue, that it's an age issue, that short of a prescription, there's nothing natural that will actually move the needle. I understand why you believe that. The medical system is built around treating symptoms, not optimizing function. And most of the information out there is either too complicated, too clinical, or trying to sell you a $90 bottle of something with a list of ingredients you can't pronounce. Here's what I want you to understand before we go any further. The belief that this is irreversible is the myth, and today we're going to dismantle it together. I'm Dr. Mariana, a board-certified urologist and men's health specialist with over 14 years of clinical experience. I've worked with men from their early 50s to their late 70s, and I can tell you with confidence that the majority of what men write off as aging is actually correctable. Not with surgery, not with hormone injections, often with something as simple as understanding what your body is running low on and why. I've seen men in their late 60s describe feeling better than they did at 45. I've had patients tell me their wives noticed the change before they did. That kind of transformation is what this channel is built around. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been part of this community of wise, health-forward men and women for a while, you already know what we do here. We talk straight, we talk science, and we leave the shame at the door. Hit the like button if you want more content like this. Subscribe if you haven't already, because we publish new videos every week and you do not want to miss what's coming. And drop a comment right now. Tell me where in the world you're watching from. I read every single one. Now, let's talk about magnesium. Not in the abstract, not the way it gets buried in a multivitamin label between zinc and vitamin D. I want to talk about what magnesium actually does inside a man's body over 50, why you're almost certainly not getting enough of it, and why taking the right form at the right time changes things in ways that will surprise you. The first thing you need to understand is this. Magnesium is involved in over 300 biochemical reactions in the human body. 300. Think of it like the electrical grid of a city. You don't see the grid, you don't think about the grid, but if the grid goes down, nothing works. The lights, the traffic signals, the hospitals, the water pumps. When magnesium is low, your body's grid is running on partial power. You function, but nothing runs at full capacity. And here's where men over 50 are in particular trouble. As we age, two things happen simultaneously. Our ability to absorb magnesium from food decreases, and our kidneys begin excreting more of it. You're taking less in and losing more. Add to that the reality that most Western diets are genuinely poor in magnesium-rich foods. And if you drink coffee, alcohol, or take any kind of diuretic, you're accelerating that loss even further. The math is not in your favor. The result? Muscle cramps at night, restless legs, sleep that never gets deep, anxiety that feels like low-grade static in the background of everything, constipation, heart palpitations, and critically for men, a measurable disruption to testosterone production. Because here's something your doctor may not have connected the dots on. Magnesium is directly involved in the conversion of free testosterone in the body. When magnesium is low, your testosterone doesn't just decline with age, it declines faster than it should. That fatigue you're attributing to getting older may be, in significant part, a mineral deficiency. That matters. Not just physically, it matters for who you feel like you are. The second thing I want you to understand is why sleep is the master dial for everything we're talking about today. Sleep is when your body performs its maintenance cycle. It's when testosterone is produced and released. It's when growth hormone peaks. It's when your cardiovascular system recovers, your mood regulation resets, and yes, when your body prepares itself for the next day's intimate performance. Men who sleep poorly have measurably lower testosterone levels. Full stop. It's not correlation, it's mechanism. Magnesium is one of the most powerful natural sleep aids we have evidence for, and it works through two distinct pathways. First, it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your body's rest and repair mode. Think of it as the switch that turns off the engine at the end of the day. Second, magnesium regulates melatonin, the hormone that controls your sleep-wake cycle. Without adequate magnesium, your melatonin production is blunted, your body temperature doesn't drop properly at night, and you never hit the deep, slow-wave sleep that does the real restoration work. You sleep, but you don't recover. And when you don't recover, everything downstream suffers. The third point is one that men rarely hear about, and it took me years of clinical practice to start making this connection routinely. Magnesium has a direct relationship with nitric oxide, the molecule that controls blood vessel dilation throughout the body, including the vessels that matter most for bedroom reliability. Nitric oxide is what allows blood to flow freely and efficiently. It's the plumbing working at full pressure. Magnesium supports the enzymes that produce nitric oxide. When magnesium is depleted, those enzymes underperform, blood flow is restricted, and the bedroom confidence that men sometimes notice fading after 50 often has a direct physiological explanation that has nothing to do with desire and everything to do with circulation. I say this not to alarm you, but to relieve you, because a circulation problem is a solvable problem. Before we go on, I want to hear from you in the comments. Have you ever noticed a connection between how well you slept and how you felt physically the next day? Not just energy, but everything: mood, drive, the feeling of being fully yourself. Drop it below. You'd be surprised how many men in this community share exactly what you're experiencing. The fourth thing, and this is where most men go wrong when they finally do try magnesium, is the form. Not all magnesium is equal, and the form you choose determines whether you get results or just expensive urine. Magnesium oxide, which is what you find in most cheap supplements, has an absorption rate of roughly 4%. 4. That means 96% of what you swallow goes straight through you without entering your bloodstream in any meaningful way. The forms with the best bioavailability for men's health, especially sleep and testosterone support, are magnesium glycinate and magnesium threonate. Glycinate is bound to the amino acid glycine, which itself has calming properties. It absorbs efficiently, it's gentle on the digestive system, and it crosses into muscle tissue and the nervous system with far less of the digestive side effects that make some men give up on magnesium entirely. Threonate, specifically magnesium L-threonate, is the only form shown to cross the blood-brain barrier effectively, which makes it particularly valuable for cognitive function, stress regulation, and sleep depth. If you're dealing with brain fog alongside the other symptoms we've discussed, threonate is worth your attention. The fifth point is timing, and it's simpler than you think. Take your magnesium at night, between 30 and 60 minutes before bed. Your body is winding down, your nervous system is preparing for sleep, and that's exactly when magnesium's calming, muscle-relaxing, melatonin-supporting effects do their best work. Don't take it with calcium because these two minerals compete for absorption. Don't take it with your other supplements in the morning and expect full sleep benefit. This is a nighttime mineral for the men we're talking about today. Dosage. Most men over 50 benefit from 300 to 400 milligrams per day of elemental magnesium. Start low, 200 milligrams, and increase over a week. Your body will tell you when it's right. The first signs you're hitting the correct level. You fall asleep faster, you wake up fewer times, and you notice something subtle but real in the morning. A little more ease in your body, a little more in reserve. The sixth thing I want you to sit with is the relationship between magnesium and cortisol, the stress hormone that, in men over 50, is one of the most destructive forces working against vitality. Cortisol and testosterone are in a direct inverse relationship. When cortisol goes up, testosterone comes down. It's like a seesaw. You can't have both elevated at once. Chronic low-grade stress, deadlines, finances, family pressures, health worries, keeps cortisol elevated day and night. Magnesium blunts the cortisol response. It acts like a volume knob for your stress system, turning down the signal that keeps your body in a constant low-level fight or flight state. Men who add magnesium at night often report not just better sleep, but a quieter mind, less background noise, the ability to let the day go when they lie down. That quietness is not trivial. That quietness is what allows your body to do the repair work that restores the man you know yourself to be. The seventh and final point today is one I consider the most important, and it doesn't involve a pill or a supplement at all. It's about what you believe is possible for yourself. Because I have watched too many men in my clinic sit across from me with a kind of quiet resignation. I believe that the best years are behind them, that the body they're in now is a lesser version of themselves, that vitality is something that belonged to younger men. And I want to address that directly, because it is not true and it is not fair. Magnesium deficiency does not announce itself dramatically. It doesn't send you to the emergency room. It just quietly dims the lights. It makes everything slightly harder, slightly flatter, slightly less. And because it happens gradually, men adapt to it. They lower their expectations. They stop asking why they feel the way they feel. They assume it's just age. It doesn't have to be. I want to tell you about David. David was 64 when he came to see me. A retired engineer, calm and methodical, the kind of man who had spent his whole life solving problems, but had stopped applying that logic to himself. He came in because of fatigue, not dramatic, crushing fatigue, but the kind that made evenings feel like obligations. He wasn't sleeping past 4 a.m. His wife had gently mentioned that something had changed in their intimacy, and he had nodded and said nothing, and felt something he described to me as a quiet erosion of who he was. His magnesium levels were predictably low. We started him on 300 milligrams of magnesium glycinate at night. 3 weeks later, he sent me a message, and this is almost exactly what he wrote. I slept through until 6:30 for the first time in 2 years. I don't know how to explain what that felt like. By week 6, the morning confidence was back. By week 10, his wife had stopped worrying. He told me in a follow-up appointment, almost laughing, "I thought I was just getting old. I didn't know I was just getting low." David didn't need a miracle. He needed information and the dignity of being taken seriously. I want to speak to the thought that might be sitting in the back of your mind right now. The one that says, maybe it's too late for me. Maybe I've been low for too long. Maybe the window has closed. I hear that thought in my clinic regularly, and I want to say clearly, it is not too late. The body's ability to respond to adequate nutrition is remarkable at every age. Magnesium deficiency is not a wound, it's an absence, and absences can be filled. I have watched men in their early 70s experience genuine transformation from changes this simple. The biology does not care how old you are. It cares whether the raw materials are present. Your job is to give it what it needs and then get out of its way. Your age is not the problem. The gap between what your body needs and what it's been getting, that's the problem. And that gap is closable. Here's your action summary. 1. Identify the right form. Magnesium glycinate for sleep and muscle recovery. Magnesium L-threonate if cognitive clarity is a priority for you. 2. Take 200 to 300 milligrams, 30 to 60 minutes before bed, without calcium. 3. Give it 21 days minimum before you assess. The body takes time to replenish depleted stores. 4. Improve your dietary magnesium by adding pumpkin seeds, dark leafy greens, and dark chocolate to your regular meals. These are among the highest magnesium foods available. 5. Reduce the things that drain magnesium: excess alcohol, excessive coffee, and chronic stress. 6. Track 2 things in those first 3 weeks: how quickly you fall asleep and how you feel in the first 30 minutes of the morning. Those 2 data points will tell you everything. The 30-day challenge. Start tonight. 1 dose of magnesium glycinate before bed for 30 days. Keep a simple note in your phone, just 1 line each morning. How did I sleep? How do I feel? That's it. At day 30, come back to this video and leave a comment. I want to hear what changed for you. If this video gave you something valuable, please like it. It helps this content reach other men who need it and would never know to search for it. Subscribe if you aren't already, and share this with someone in your life who's been quietly accepting less than they should. And in the comments, I want you to tell me this. What's the one thing you're most hoping improves in the next 30 days? Sleep, energy, morning confidence, something else? Tell me. I read every comment in this community and your answer matters. Aging is not the end of vitality. It's an invitation to live smarter. I'll see you in the next one.